Hi, I'm Terri Murphy with the Data Advocate and the Senior Editor for Realty Times, and we always look for smart women, smarter choices in the women in business and women in real estate vertical. And today we have a powerhouse. I mean, a powerhouse to the top degree in women in real estate. And her name is Vanessa Saunders. She's from Wales, actually, so she has this fabulous accent. And she is the CEO and principal broker of Global Property Systems. She's been a pioneering force in the real estate industry with over 2 decades in our industry. But here's where she's shifted and made it different. She's got innovative technology, including what we're going to tell you about, and blockchain. She's international. She's a perfect fit for the International MLS Forum being held in Milan. Welcome, Miss Vanessa.
Thank you, and no pressure.
Well, the good news is that your leadership has propelled GPS, which is the Global Property Systems, the forefront of our industry, emphasizing extraordinary marketing, communication, and integration for clients. And you've done a beautiful job of not only walking the talk, but you went all the way to MIT and took a certified blockchain technology innovation course, and application are now accredited. Wow. Tell us about blockchain.
Thank you. Well, it all started with crypto transactions internationally. I did 2 major commercial crypto transactions between China and Greece, as it happened. Had no idea what on earth was going on. Had to ask my son-in-law, who's a captain of a super yacht for a billionaire, as to what his billionaire did with crypto, because I knew he did. And he put me on to the Cayman Islands, an attorney, and I thought the whole thing was rather shady, and it was probably. And I was determined that nobody was coming knocking at my door, especially the SEC, excuse me. And I had started asking people, what is blockchain? What is crypto? Can you explain it to me? And nobody really could. There were people, Joe from we will be seeing in Italy. He was one of my go-to people, and all he could speak to me was in acronyms, and I was straight over my head. I had no idea what was going on. I researched and I finally came up with MIT, did this course, and it spoke to me. And I thought, oh, I'll apply, and they took me. I had an MBA and an MIMC, and that was enough for them to let me into the hallowed halls of MIT, and I did the course and actually came first in class. And I didn't talk about real estate in my final paper, which was really interesting. That's another story altogether. However, it did teach me a lot. And then subsequent to that, we had COVID. And during that time, somewhere during that time, I woke up in the middle of the night, as we do, and said, ding, this could be the answer to all the issues that real estate has. It's about transparency, security, and more to the point, accountability. And I'm like, wow, this is fabulous. I can use this internationally. I can use it domestically. This is what could be life-changing for everybody in the real estate industry. And of course, now we're going through a whole load of changes. This would be the absolute best time to implement blockchain technology into the real estate world. And when I say world, I mean domestically and internationally.
Well, you have offices all over Europe. Tell us about, I know you're going to be in Milan, because when we spotted you in Milan, we went, got to have this woman in Milan for the MLS International Forum, where you will be one of the top speakers. And I will say probably one of the most power-packed sessions they're going to have there. You said that this means that it's really cutting edge in the industry, especially with what's happening now. So where do you have offices?
I have them on 3 continents. We have offices in Manchester, Milan, Munich. We were going to open in Mumbai, but then COVID came in and we haven't gone back to that yet. And Manila in Asia.
Okay, so if you don't know, this is a busy woman, and she has a team, and she's in New Hampshire, lest you want to know where she might be. And she entertains. So she's just one of my favorite women. You did talk about,
I love cooking. What can I say?
I've got some recipes for you. You
I'm
like,
not
you talk about fractional investments, you talk about trusted every turn. And I think that that is probably the most premier key element, critical element to real estate today, because everything that's going on suggests that there hadn't been trust. And you and I both know that when it's not like ordering a lunch you don't like. I mean, when you buy a piece of real estate, especially internationally, and that's what MLS Forum is all about, is how do we bring standards that are more universal to Europe so that the consumer has a better experience. So you really do an amazing job. Tell us a little bit about what you're thinking about sharing in Milan.
Oh my gosh, that would be telling, wouldn't it? It really depends where the conversation goes. But I think from you take it domestically and what happens here in the United States doesn't happen outside of this country typically. And it starts with you don't know really how much a property you're going to buy actually is, because there aren't any appraisals done and there's no CMAs. And it's basically what you buy isn't necessarily what you end up buying, which is really interesting. And that happened to me before I got into real estate. I was about to buy a property in Spain. We had actually arrived at a price. I had seen the same property in maybe 6 real estate agents' offices in the same town at different prices, every one. Eventually spoke to the owners, who happened to be British, and trusted them. Who fool me. Get to the closing with my husband, and meantime we'd sold our house in New York. We'd had the dogs microchipped. We'd done everything we had to. Everything was containered, ready to go. We flew to Malaga and went to the closing, and they asked for another 150,000 black money under the table.
Wow.
And we had been very clear all the way along that that was not going to happen. And we got up from the table and walked away. We lost our deposit, but we walked away from that because I couldn't trust them. And if I couldn't trust them on the price, how could I trust them on the house I was buying?
And the ownership. And so you are going to be a really pivotal and I'll say critical asset to the MLS International Forum. That's going to happen October 7th and 8th. And then you're going to go on to Copenhagen, where the rest of us are just going to go home and go to the grocery store. If someone wanted you to speak, or if someone wanted you've actually developed a course on this. And I don't know, why don't you tell people how to avail themselves of either contacting you and how to take your course?
Okay, well, my course isn't really available online as such. I've shared it with several of people, including yourself, who've seen it. It is a CE course, accredited in this particular one that you've seen is for Minnesota. So it's accredited for CE. And it was essentially to explain how to use blockchain in real estate domestically, and why it's so important, and why it brings you as an agent the differentiation of how other agents do business and how you can do business with blockchain. And it's not expensive, it's not difficult. Everybody gets it so confused with cryptocurrencies. Blockchain,
really
they
simple.
immediately think, oh, all bad things. Everybody's heard bad things. It's a bit like when we go back to the days of the internet. Do you remember that?
Yes.
And dial up, diddly-dee, diddly-dee. None of that anymore. But it went through a rough patch. Blockchain came to being by Satoshi Nakamoto. I can't say that. Say that 3 times quickly. Back in 2009. And they developed, we don't know who this person is, or they, or whatever it is, they developed Bitcoin as a way to do a decentralized currency, which is taking out the middleman, the banks. But to get money from here to here, you needed something for it to travel through. And that became Bitcoin. Sorry, blockchain. See, I'm doing it myself now.
Start with me. So it's a beautiful course, because even for people like me, because it's sort of like
understood it.
You can understand it because you've made it simple, and it's very, very, I'm going to help you get this out. And so if someone wanted to contact you, what's the best way to do that?
To contact me directly, Vanessa at GPS for Global Property Systems, GPS house, like you live in, hunt, you go hunting. So Vanessa at gpshousehunt.com.
Well, I am so excited to be presenting with you in Milan. We are excited because we have great people there, RISO, the Real Estate and Standards Organization, SEPI, really big deals, and you're one of them. We're so excited to have you on the Data Advocate and Women in Real Estate. Thanks so much for joining us, and promise that you'll join us after Milan so that we can get an update on what happened there and how fabulously you were received there. I'm Terri Murphy for the Data Advocate. Vanessa, thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much indeed. And from what you've said today, I've got to put an online course together, haven't I?
Thanks so much.